like to welcome everybody to the Town of Roxbury Town Board meeting on November 4th, 2021. This is a starting with a public hearing on our preliminary budget. Diane, would you read the public notice, please?
Notice is hereby given that the preliminary budget for the town of Roxbury for the fiscal year 2022 has been completed and filed in the office of the town clerk, where it is available for inspection during regular business hours. Notice is further given that the town board will hold a public hearing on the preliminary budget at 6:45 p.m. on November 4th, 2021 in the town hall, at which time any person may be heard in favor of or against the proposed budget or any item therein. Pursuant to Section 108 of the town law, the proposed salaries of elected officials are as follows. Councilman 4, $5,205.50 each. Justice 2, $9,021.13 each. Supervisor, $15,699.12. Tax collector, $10,472.51. Town clerk, $48,540.75, and highway superintendent, $58,246.88. The regular monthly meeting of the town board will be held at 7 p.m. following the public hearing.
Thanks.
Okay, with that being said, we will open the public hearing at 6:47, I guess it is. 48, somewhere around there. Does anybody have any comments concerning our preliminary budget that has been put together?
If you would like to comment, please put your name in the chat and I will ask you to unmute in order.
Using? You got two.
Evelyn, did you have a comment?
Yeah, I just wanted to ask you.
Please speak up so they can hear you on the computer too, okay?
I'll try.
Please, thank you.
Okay, I noticed under cemeteries, you've got $13,000.
That's correct.
Because this year with the cutting of the grass down to the cemetery, I can only say it was terrible. It's nothing personal, but I have never seen it. It's so bad. After they would cut it, the grass was so high, I had to go and rake it up because it just didn't look good. And I've never seen it like that before.
Just so you know, the town does not manage that cemetery. There is a cemetery board. The only thing the town does is we do from our budget, we provide funds for the maintenance of the cemetery, but it's totally up to the cemetery board to decide who they hire for mowing and maintenance of the cemetery. We just reimburse them based on our agreed upon amount every year.
How many? Two cemeteries? One cemetery? Is it just
Two.
one down here?
No, there's two. There's
There's
also
two. Where- because
three, actually, yes.
I have never.
Grand Gorge Cemetery. So,
And the yellow.
Personal.
and the one at the Yellow Church, yes. But we have nothing to say about how they maintain it. They work with a contractor to do the mowing, and personally, I'm not even sure which contractor it is this year. So,
We weren't very happy with the way it was taken care of.
does anybody have any other comments in reference to our proposed budget for this year? If not, I will close the public hearing.
No comments in the chat. No
Okay,
one wanted to comment.
thank you, Jess. And we will reconvene at 7 o'clock for our regular meeting. Okay, I'd like to start the regular meeting with the pledge of allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic which stands one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Before we get started, I would like to offer condolences to the family of Jay Gula,
Oh, wow.
who was recently appointed to our Board of Assessment Review. He passed away yesterday afternoon suddenly. I'd ask for a moment of silence. Thank you. You have received the minutes of the October 11th regular meeting. Anybody have any comments or questions concerning the minutes?
Just saw there was one typo on the foreman, just fell off. Sorry.
With the one correction, can I have a resolution to accept the minutes?
I'll make that.
A second,
I'll second
all in favor?
it.
Okay, we have a couple of requests to speak tonight. Mike Harrington, actually, I spoke with him today and he provided a written report to everybody to review. Not a whole lot going on at the wall site. They're working on things moving forward. We have a Jason Tompkins who from the Catskills Addiction Coalition. I don't see him in the room. Are you here?
No, I don't.
Or are you online, Jason? If you would like to speak, please let us know.
Jason, if you're online, could you put your name in the chat?
Don't see that Jason is on there. I will just briefly mention Jason represents the Catskills Addiction Coalition. I believe he may have given you a call, Ed.
Yes.
Yeah, they are looking to possibly do some outreach in the village or the hamlet of Grand Gorge. And possibly use the civic center.
Civic Center, their whole meetings,
Right.
from what I gather, he goes around and like gives seminars and stuff on Narcan.
Yep.
And
Yeah, Narcan use was one thing he said, and then
how they administer it and stuff, and I guess possibly even they hand it out to people that need it. I hope it's helps the people that need help. If they need help, they can get that one. I guess I'll be talking to him again. Something might have came up tonight. I don't know.
okay. I know I spoke with him as well, and I gave him your number to talk with him.
So I think would the board be all right with them using the civic center for?
I'm not sure yet whether they want to use the gym or whether they're thinking of the cafeteria, but I had kind of suggested that would be the best central location that they could use, so. Okay, moving on. I think we'll start with highway bill. Bob Townsend, Bob, you also had some comments you wanted to make, and I know it's highway related, so.
As most of you know, I have a shop over on Depot Street. And I bought it back in 1986. And for the first few years that I owned it, the town came over and graded the roads and rolled them and so on. And then all of a sudden it stopped. I never have received any notice, but I've been told the road's been abandoned by the town. Now, it seems to me a street here in the village with people on it that pay taxes, I don't understand how it can be abandoned. I still get my tax bill, 43 Depot Street, and yet apparently there is no Depot Street. So I just want to have an explanation. Nobody has ever written to me, called me or anything about this. But all of a sudden, it's not a town road anymore.
Bill, I'll let you answer that. I know we talked about it earlier this week.
Yeah.
After Bob contacted us.
I mean, I could answer it to the best of my knowledge. I mean, the reason why we used to grade it, obviously, and plow it and maintain it, because we used to store trucks over to the ice house. I mean, I talked to Steve Schuman about this, and as far as I look back and he looked back and a few others look back, it was never a town road. We just maintained it for that fact.
Well, I've got a map that says the town of Roxbury owns that strip down through there where the road is.
You know, that's
You,
nothing,
actually, you have a copy of it because Diane made a couple
Yes.
copies of it.
but I've been looking at certain maps and there again, I've looked at our mileage, state mileage and Delaware County mileage sheets, and it shows nothing about Depot Street. I've looked at maps and it actually mentions Depot Road. And there again, I mean, is as far, nothing was ever
When
brought up to me.
when I
never
bought
heard-
the property, I was told it was a town road by the lawyers.
Right.
So I don't know.
I mean, any records that I have, it doesn't show it as a town road. I mean, I'm not arguing with you, but you know, anything I have that we've talked about, it never was brought up that it was abandoned. I never heard it was abandoned or anything either.
I've never received anything outside of the map that I have, and when I bought it, I was told it was a town road.
Right.
We own the ice house, so, right?
Yes.
And the town owns the building out, so.
Yeah, we still own the ice house. The Creamery.
How are you?
Collapsed.
So we have the right of way to it.
We have a right of way.
Yeah.
Actually, I believe
And we
Bob
plowed
may
it
be right.
before.
It might very well possibly be owned by the town, that section down through there.
We own property down there. And it's a town road.
I mean, I,
Might as well maintain it to get to our property.
I think that makes sense, and I don't.
Oh, I
it's up to the
agree.
board
I
to
mean,
decide what we
When
want to do.
when
here.
Bob had asked, we'd plow it. And, you know, I know we
I've
haven't
asked a
graded
few
it.
times, and we had a lot of snow, and they did go over and plow it for me, but, you
I
know,
was just,
it's not on
Yeah.
a regular basis or anything, so.
Yeah,
I mean, it can be, that's easy enough. I just, you know, followed suit with the last two bosses.
I'll tell you, there's an awful lot of people that use that road
there are.
from the end of Railroad Avenue back and forth through there. There's a lot of traffic through there.
I think we should probably look into that a little bit with our lawyer, Bill, and see.
Sure.
I actually have the same incident situation in another road in Grand Gorge, which I'll talk to you about afterwards, but which is near the Civic Center.
Okay.
There's been some question on that one too. So, but I think we got to get the lawyer to look at it a little bit, look at the deeds, because that one, there's actually a deed to the town of Roxbury on that road, so.
And there again, Bob, you know, I don't have any problem.
Oh, I know that, but I just like to get it settled one way or the other.
I guess-
Yeah, I understand.
I guess to resolve it, I guess the board will look into it with the attorneys, and if it's acceptable, we'll bring it up as a resolution. Decide what we're gonna do.
Adopt it as a town road.
Yeah, I mean, I don't see a reason why we shouldn't. If it's,
Right.
we own the property at the end of it as well.
Who owns the rest of the property?
Well, we
Well,
own,
there's-
It's a through road. That's what I'm asking it's a through road over
Right.
Railroad Avenue, but who owns past the ice house?
I think the railroad, because they had a siding in there once upon a time, I think the
I
railroad
believe so,
owns
because I remember helping them out.
that open stretch through there. There's nothing built there. I believe it's railroad property, actually.
Railroad or Sheehan property?
No, it's railroad, I believe. I can clarify that with
Something to look into. I
the
mean,
railroad, but I'm pretty sure that part of it is the railroad. But the town definitely owns the old ice house. We do have at least a railroad, but we do own that.
see, there's a lot of, with the railroad, there's a lot of if and and buts about stuff like that. It's like, over my house. I own the property. They have right away. And I think I'm pretty sure past the ice house is the same way. They have a right away. I'm pretty sure somebody else owns that piece of property.
Well, we have to look into that, because I know that's a little convoluted with some of the.
It is, and it's been kind of just
Crossed off to the side.
What,
pretty
Mike,
much
you have
just
something
for the
about that?
fact.
I was just wondering, most towns, before you can adopt the road as a town road, it has to meet all the legal specs.
Specs, yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, there's certain specs, but I mean,
then what do you wanna do with Hozier Road? Cause we've got an issue with that too.
Which one is that?
That's far from up to spec, I can tell you that right now.
Well, that was on mileage sheets, but now it's not, and I can't find anything where that one,
I have no answer
that
for
was
that.
supposedly
I'm
not
not familiar with that
maintained
one.
for.
Since for
Even when
23
Dan
years
was
since
here.
I've been here, we've never touched it.
I'm not sure. We'll have to look into that. I know
Where's that?
I the other side of
Issues
New
with
Kingston
that.
Mountain. That's what it was. There used to be a house that they tore down years ago. One of my relatives farmed it on that, and it was.
Well, I mean, in that case, if it hasn't been used for, I think it's 6 years, you can abandon it. That's
Yeah, I
what we
think
did with some other
We
roads.
should look into that and see what we need to do. That's, I know this situation has come up several times over the last few years.
Yeah,
And we kind of take one on a case by case basis to see what the situation is, but I think.
we
need to
learned a
look
lot
into it.
about
Yeah,
it, but
'cause
yeah,
I
there's
can't
a lot
find
of.
anything on
Yeah,
that
I
either.
think that's another one we'll need to look into, a little better idea of what we're doing. So. Okay, Bill, I guess. You have anything, you can go through what you got for highway? Just get you out of here if you want.
Getting stockpiling sand and salt, and
Let me know how you make out.
I will, Bob.
All right, thank you.
stop in and see me, Bob, if you feel you want to.
Okay, all right.
Nothing, not a whole lot, just stockpiling sand and salt, getting trucks ready for winter. Just tying up some loose ends, little jobs, little projects. Not too much.
Just before I forget to mention, the radio station did get that equipment all on book. I don't know if you guys.
They were there the one day, but I didn't realize how
Yeah,
far they
that's
got.
ready to be brought out of there. If you want
Couple guys bring it down.
a day and want to do it.
Sure.
If you can get it down to where they can get at it, they'll get somebody to come get it.
Okay.
So
Yep. We can do
I thought
that.
it would probably be safer than having them go up there. and try to get
Yeah,
down those
Yeah,
stairs.
we'll get 3 or 4 guys or whatever.
Okay.
Um,
Anybody have anything for Bill?
A few resolutions while I'm here.
Yeah, I was just gonna look and see. I think we have a couple. for you that we need to do. This highway contract, the change that we had to the highway contract, which we discussed already.
Right.
It's been through everybody. We have a draft contact here. We need a resolution to accept that. I need somebody to make a resolution for that.
I'll make it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Appointment of deputy.
Yes.
So I'll appoint Roxbury as deputy highway superintendent.
That motion on that.
Yes.
That's
Yes.
a point.
That's it.
That's an appointment. But there is one for naming the highway foreman, which for highway foreman, it'll be Steve Green. Mechanic will be Corbin Boughton. And mechanics helper will be Chris Sheltus.
And we do need a resolution for that, correct?
Yeah,
I'll make the motion.
Second.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, what else did we have?
I believe that's it.
I think that's it. We had review, right, Bill?
I think so.
You guys are still on here, or are you back to?
We
5 days?
started Wednesday, the third week started 6 to 2:30,
Okay,
and then the first week in December changed to 5 to 1:30,
okay, and that's gonna be
5 days a week.
5 days. You're still on 4 days a week.
No worse. Well, this week was kind of weird with the pay period. We had Monday, we had to finish up a 10-hour day. Tuesday was obviously a holiday. Then Wednesday, we started with 8-hour days.
Okay,
So we're on 8-hour days for the.
So you're back
remaining-
to 5 days now.
Correct,
Okay.
yeah.
Sounds good. Anybody have anything else for Bill concerning highway? Okay. Stephanie, you want to go?
Yeah,
We got a couple things to go over with you.
yeah, not a lot of assessing work in October, but a lot of, traffic cop stuff. So there's a lot of, building going on, a lot of new people in town. So, kind of helping people spec out any building projects, doing a lot of mapping, keeping people away from streams and water courses. And the thing that I learned actually in the past couple of days that is a little bit alarming, to be honest with you, is that in spite of the fact that we have pictometry, which is a fantastic resource, we have the Comet Map tool, another wonderful resource, especially for looking to stay out of the floodplain, fantastic. Then there's the New York State, the DEC environmental mapping tool. And yet with all those tools and all the, all that stream and, where to build 100 feet and everything else, there are other maps that the public does not, that we, mere mortals, do not have access to, which show, I'm going to call them ancient streams or underground protected streams that a person can easily run afoul of. And this is alarming. There's no solution, I'm going to tell you right now, except to say what I will do once again, I will update the assessor page, the building inspector page, and the planning department page with, when in doubt, contact DEC and DEP for a field visit, because even though you don't think that you have water on your property, there may be a protected water course underneath it, through it, or near your project. That's it. And spent a lot of time on that this month.
There's no way we can do unless we contact them.
There's no way, in spite of all those 3 mapping tools, all of which serve a fantastic purpose, they're all terrific.
They're all good.
And
They could
yet
be on there.
there are surprises and afoot, because we live surrounded by water. And so the moral of the story is, when in doubt, ask before you build, or you might wind up, with a SWIP thing or something like that, or, an alarming phone call or letter from DEC, DEP, or both. So we don't want that. We want to, we want people, and people want to be on the right side of doing the right thing. And we're trying to help them do that. So that's the goal. So we're simply going to make it more, visible, so that if anybody has any question about a building project or a potential building project, they can ask for a field visit to make sure that they're not going to be in violation, and find out, after the fact. So a lot of focus on that, again, trying to help people do the right thing.
There are one of those in my basement.
Yeah, a lot of us do.
Especially this year.
A lot of us do.
Also, Stephanie, I just wanted to mention, you and I spoke about this,
The rate thing?
no, the image mate.
Oh, yeah.
And I did speak with the director of the finance committee about that.
You
He's gonna
did,
check
okay.
into it. I'm also gonna reach out to the tax office and find out. He didn't really see any reason why they wouldn't do it, especially if it's free. So I don't think for the town to do it separately at this point, it makes much sense.
Yeah,
This is concerning the image mate reporting for the ability for people to look online.
to look at their inventory.
Yes.
Right, exactly. And there's a component, there was a tie-in, there's a link, actually, speaking of the mapping tool, there's a link on the Commit mapping tool that will, when you click on that little paper clip on a parcel, it would take you to that site. So that's been turned off now, because that information was dating back to 2016. So it's good that it was shut off. In the meantime, you don't want people relying upon seriously dated, what if somebody built a house and it says on commit that it's a vacant piece of land? That would not be good. So it's going to be a great asset. So I'm glad that you're moving in that direction, Alan. Thank you.
Anybody have anything else for Stephanie at this point? Okay, I don't think we had anything for the planning board, did we, Diane? No, okay. Under water and sewer, you've all received Mike Harrington's report concerning the project that we're working on, or the water projects that we're working on. We did have a bit of a change in our staffing through LVDV. Alex Yakabushi is no longer here. His last day was this week. They have appointed somebody else to that position. Chris, if you'd like to update us a little bit on what's going on there, that would be great.
Sure thing, Alan. Actually, things have actually started to slow down a little bit. I don't think I've had a leak in
Don't
about a
ever say
month.
that. Get you said that and don't ever say it again.
Yeah, right. Things are going well. Up at Denver Water, we have installed a new booster pump in the basement that kicks all the water back up to the water tower. We also had to install a new chlorinator on wellhead number 5. That has been done. And apparently Hubble is going to go in there and start building the roads early to mid December. So there's where we stand on that. We just had our Department of Health inspections this month. Things went really well there. There are a few things that we have to tweak down at the wellheads, but that will be done when the roads are built. Yes, I've been training a new trainee up at Denver Sewer. His name is Kobe Afimabas. I believe he is on tonight, and he has a little something to talk about for the sewer side. I've also been training a substitute. And his name is Ken Castle, and he's from Grand Gorge, and so things have been really busy that way. We've been trying to train these guys for the past 2 weeks, and they've done real well. So that's about where we are.
Kobe, do you have anything you'd like to say? Welcome aboard. We look forward to working with you.
Thank you. So the big things that just have been happening was we received the membranes for the new micro filters. And Tuesday, right, Chris? Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesday they will be installed.
Yep. So
that's a crucial part of that treatment process is the membranes. And both machines that we have, both microfilters, the filters needed to be replaced, and that's going to happen Tuesday.
Okay, does anybody on the board have anything for either Chris or Kobe? All right, thank you guys, appreciate it.
Oh, Alan, we did want to, did you want to talk about the guy up at Cluster 9 with the sewer lateral?
I don't think we need to at this point.
Okay, we can save that for later.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we'll talk about that. I don't think that really needs to be in the meeting at this point.
Okay. All right, then that's all we have for you.
You gotta confirm the colors or get for another time too.
Yeah, that was from Mike, actually. I sent that around to you guys to take a look at. Basically, what our thought was pretty much to match the color scheme of the back well building on that property as close as we can. So unless anybody has any problems or concerns with that, that's what they're going to use for siding colors. And it's going to be, I was thinking pink maybe. It will be, I believe it's a metal roof on the building. It's going to be the cement board siding on the side. So. Okay, moving on. We did not get a report from our building inspector this week. He called in Friday with a family emergency. And I don't think has been heard from much since. So if we don't hear from him shortly, we'll reach out and find out what's going on. But, just for the benefit of everybody here, if anybody needs anything from our building inspector and can't get a hold of him, please contact us and we'll do our best to reach out to him. For Kirkside Park, we did get a report from Denise see that Mark Project is on here. I don't know if that's Katie or who it is. And I also believe Riley, you were on here as well. So do you guys have anything that you wanted to go over with the board concerning Kirkside or any of our community resources stuff?
Sure, it's me, Alan.
Oh, you are on there, Peg. How come you don't
I
say
am.
Peg instead of Mark Project?
Well, because we're all
No.
one project, aren't we? We're just
I-
one big project.
Then I would know who you were. And I could say that. Okay,
So
Peg, go ahead.
just a beginning, Alan and Mike and I just interviewed 2 of the 3 final candidates for the Roxbury website redesign. Both were very impressive. We'll be interviewing the 3rd next week sometime. And I would imagine that will be brought up at next town board meeting, Alan. Is that what you're thinking time-wise?
That's what I'm thinking, yeah.
Okay.
I think that would be the consensus from us that were on there today.
I'm also still plugging along on the food pantry application, and I see Robin and Judith are on here. One thing I think it's important to make sure everyone understands is that food pantry is not Roxbury centric. Anyone is welcome to use it. And they serve people from as far away as Hobart and Stamford, and so it's not just for Roxbury. Judith and Robin, do you want to add anything to that?
Hi, this is Robin. We are actually trying to, if a town has a food pantry, we are directing those people to the food pantry in their own town. But we're not sure that there is one in Stamford or in Hobart at this time. So we are taking people from all over. Thanks.
But Robin, to loan further clarity to this, it's not just the hamlet of Roxbury's food pantry.
Correct. Correct.
Okay. It serves the entire township and some external towns if needed, correct?
Correct.
Okay. So I hope to be meeting with them next week to finalize. Go ahead, Judith.
Oh, okay. I wasn't sure I was unmuted. I was going to say, yeah, that per the county, we are supposed to direct people to their own community, but we serve Grand Gorge, as you said, Hobart. We even have people from Prattsville, Stamford, and we really have seen the need go up, I would say 4 times since October. And I think that has to do with some of the extra sort of stimulus money drying up. We've gotten suddenly quite busy, as has the community pantry in Margaretville, after having been slow for the past 18 months.
So this will be submitted before the end of this month to be reviewed by the board at Homes and Community Renewal in December. I'm not sure what the turnaround time is once they review applications, but I will keep you posted. Another question for you guys. Are you still interested in pursuing a scenic byway extension on the Route 30 corridor?
You guys familiar? We've spoken of this before. We've had a couple of meetings concerning that. I personally, I think it's a good opportunity for the town to go forward.
So I will submit an application to O'Connor to help fund Peter Manning's consultancy to develop that nomination. And we'll move forward from there. Do I have your blessings on that one?
Everybody okay with that? Okay.
Okay.
Do you need a resolution from us now or not?
No, this is I just wanted your blessings to write and submit the O'Connor proposal. Carol and Peter, once there's some funding in place, we can kick in all the things, the meetings, the conversations, things like that, okay?
Is that the Route 30 or is that the 23 ends?
This is the connection to the Route 28 corridor down Route 30.
Okay.
And then the next step would be the connection of the Route 23 scenic byway to connect it to the Route 30 component as well.
Mhm.
One piece at a time, right, Michael?
Mhm.
So we held some tours of the Future Inn at Kirkside last Saturday. That's a MARC project initiative. I want everyone to be clear about that as well. That the town owns Kirkside Park, the MARC project owns the building Kirkside. But we had over 40 people come. Deanna was the ticket master. Thank you, Deanna. And it was really a great day. Mike was there on one of the tours. We had a really good turnout. I was very pleased. We also hauntedly sat on the front porch of the mansion on Sunday night and had a whole lot of fun, perhaps frightening some people. So it's nice
The
that
tour
there's
was
life
good
in
and
the
you gave an
building.
excellent talk.
And my office will be there moving forward. And so if you see my Subaru, it means come on in. You're always welcome to stop by, chat, ask questions, whatever it is you need to know. If I have the answers, I will provide them.
Just one more note, we did in Denise's report, we did get some comments back from Kevin Young's office concerning the contract for the Kirkside kitchen. I believe we've got it pretty close to a final form. If anybody has any other comments or questions, you should review that. I believe you all had a copy of it. And let us know if we need to make any changes. On that note, also, we were actually written up in the New York State website for that project. Peg, maybe you can explain a little more about that. We received a request for comments. I made some comments with the help of Peg. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Department of State issued a media release on the community kitchen. It was posted on the MARC Project Facebook page as well, with all kinds of good things. I have to say, it's been a tough project, and the MARC staff, everyone pitched in to get this done in a timely as we could fashion. And it also brought in resources from Transition Catskills, the O'Connor Foundation. So there was a lot of support for this. Now that we have a contract in place, let's start promoting it for use.
Anybody have anything else for Peg or concerning Kirkside we need to go over? Okay, moving on. Dee, do you want to just give us an update on the short-term rental? Did you guys have a meeting again, or?
We didn't, we had some internet or email traffic going back and forth, but we're gonna look into it. Mecca and I are gonna get together and look more into it.
Okay.
And look at what the county has and see what we can get from that.
Okay, so at this point,
Really
nothing to really report for this month. Okay. All right. I've not heard anything more concerning our issue with rats on Main Street. I think it's getting handled. I've not heard any more complaints, but it's an ongoing issue. Hopefully with the colder weather, that will help deal with some of it. Building and grounds, we've got a couple of things to go over. We did get bids back for the renovations that we need to make to the new town hall building on Mid-Rocks. We've been reviewing them. I've spoken with both contractors. I do need to have a short executive session to discuss that briefly. We'll hopefully be ready to award that bid probably next month. I'm not sure we can do it tonight. There are some changes we may need to make. The other thing, Ed, maybe you can speak a little bit. We had the meeting with Western Catskills concerning the Civic Center. They're having some issues with their building concerning water getting into the basement and causing some problems in some of the apartments that are on the ground floor. We're looking into what can be done. Essentially, it looks like that property is town property, but I'll let you fill in.
Well, as you said, they're getting water, which everybody's getting water this year. It's just abundance of it. And I think there's some debris that needs to be moved alongside of the building and the ground, the road. I think a lot of it is more their problem than ours. I mean, they said the water's running towards the building, which we were there the day after we gotten 3 inches of rain. And up alongside the building was dry, and over against the wall to the athletic field, there was water laying there. So it's not running in other than what comes down, I think, and it's quite a mess down in there. They do some maintenance themselves.
I was in there 4 years ago in that basement. There was water and it looked like crap then.
Yeah, there's, it's,
Of course, I worked for them then.
yeah. And I think now the problem is that there was so much rain this summer that it's gotten wet in there, and there's no way of, there's no heat or nothing down in that basement. When you take a big basement like that, that definitely gets a lot of moisture just build up.
And nobody has any reason to go down there, so it never gets checked on.
And I think that's what the problem is. I think I don't know whether it was the Board of Health or somebody been around.
They had an engineer come in and look at the building, did a report. I think, as far as I can understand from what I've been able to research and records that we have here in the town, that property is all owned by Western Catskill. It's an out-of-town property. We own the Civic Center property and where the kitchen is, but the property actually is part of the Western Catskills. And the town does have right of ways for access through there, so we always maintain it and plow it because we have access for right of ways to the back of the kitchen there.
I don't know for sure. They seem to think that we own right up to the building, which I don't know.
Yeah, that's,
Don't seem like we would have taken it over, and
we're looking into that a little more. Our attorneys.
yeah, I think we ought to wait and see what the outcome. And as you said, that, the way that was wrote up is that we maintain plowing. But that was, I guess, in exchange for using the right of way to the athletic field and to the, senior dining. According to the way it looked, I guess. So I'll have to have the lawyer look at it. I think it would make them happy. I mean, you probably could put some cement or something between the wall and the road. If we start doing something, we're gonna set a precedent. Next thing we'll be fixing the bricks and everything else on the outside.
Yeah, I think we need to look into it and all that before we decide which way we're gonna go.
I think that, and they were talking about different things, and there's a hump in the back, so they said, the ground's pushed up. Well, it's not. It's because back when it was the school, that was the shop area, and there was an overhead door there, used to be, and there was a ramp like to go up in there, but it's, as if you look, it's so that the water would run away from that. But they seem to think that that's one of the problems, and big problem is there's a clump of crap in the corner where that is. So they were going to clean that out, I guess, and see if that helps. But
okay, does anybody have anything else for building and grounds we haven't discussed that we need to talk about? When did the Little League know anything?
Oh,
Sorry, we just talked about that.
yeah, I got a call from the gentleman who runs Little League in Stanford, the Casco Mountain League, which is all of this area, and they lost their field due to the pool. So, and I guess Roundhurst is going to help them. They're doing making a field out by the Archibald, but for this year they don't have a field to play on. He said they thought about the Grand Gorge Field and Jefferson Schools. But said they would supply the insurance and everything and be all under the Little League. And the only thing I was thinking is our town and like Roxbury, Prattsville, I think the ball, they used to have, I know, they used to have like a little league by themselves. And I'm not sure whether that's good. Do you know, Mike?
Yeah, I'm not sure, what's his name, in charge of the buses there?
Yeah, that's who I thought about, Rich.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna contact him to see, which I don't think they have a heavy schedule either,
No.
so I think that it could even be, worked out where.
They were using
little
using it for practices too.
Yeah, they'll need it for practices and also they wanna, like, probably 2 Saturdays have it for, that'd be like in the end of March, beginning of April for tryouts. They have a major league and minor league and major league. It used to be all just one, but now they've changed it to the minor league and I guess it's 10 or 9 and 10. And then 11 and 12 is major. It's a good organization. It's I'll get a hold of Mr. Lewis and see how it goes. I think that I know we did also for a couple of years. We've had the traveling team for Little League was in there too. They used it for practice through the winter because they practice pretty much all the time. But I haven't heard from them, so I don't know. Of course, with COVID, it's changed a lot from organizations. I think. I guess that's it on that.
Okay, anything else? Regular committees, let's move on, under new business. We did, along with the rest of the involved agencies, receive notice of public scoping from the New York State DEC. They are accepting written comments on the Hughes Energy project through November 30th. Those project comments do not come from the town of Roxbury. They do go to the New York State DEC, and they will only be accepted at the New York State DEC. The town of Roxbury will not be forwarding any comments that we get on this project to the DEC. So if you're interested in making a comment on the scoping document that has been made public, this is the document that they use to determine what will be required for the draft EIS, which the applicant will have to prepare. Those comments need to go again to the New York State DEC. And
Alan,
there is
how- I'm sorry, how long is comment period open for?
It's open until November 30th.
Okay.
It's been publicly noticed on the DEC and the state's websites as well. So I just wanted to reiterate that we do have information about that on our town website under Hughes Energy. So anybody that would like to comment on the scoping document can do it through there.
And just to be clear, the scoping document is not a determination as to whether or not they're going to permit the project.
No,
It's
absolutely
just
not.
as to whether or not what level of EIS they're going to need to provide to DEC, and then there'll be another open comment period. Am I correct?
That's correct. And I do understand, I've spoken with our planning board chairman, I do understand that the Roxbury Planning Board will be submitting a comment or comments to that scoping document as part of their review of the project. Anybody else have anything on that?
Will the town be publishing the comments that the planning board issues?
I'm gonna leave that up to the planning board as to whether they want to publish that. I assume we probably will. I don't know why we wouldn't. It's public information, just like anything that the town produces. So I'm sure that we will.
Alan, are you taking questions from the Zoom?
Not at this time, not
Okay.
yet, Jessica. We do have a few letters from the board, or letters to the board, the Grand Gorge Community Action Group. Would like to thank us for the repair of wreaths for the costs. I believe some of them are here.
Thank you.
Good, enjoy.
We're making progress.
That's good. That's a good step. That's what's important. So,
Did you get the lighting, the electric fixed yet, or?
No. We have the materials. Joe is in contact with New York State Electric and Gas.
Okay, just asking because the one in my house has been disconnected for a couple of years.
You know,
How's your fundraising going? Good?
oh, it's terrific. Yes.
Yes,
We're very
we did.
excited
Yeah.
about all the responses we've had.
Okay.
Good.
Businesses have been very generous.
Okay.
And now
Some
individuals are
individuals.
stepping up and
Yeah.
and sending us
excellent.
donations.
Very good.
Good to hear.
And of course,
That's
we
good.
got the grant from the O'Connor Foundation, and they've already sent us money for one of our larger bills that we used for the supplies. So it's all working pretty well.
How much is that?
So
grant for?
Nancy,
Yes,
Nancy, you can
Right.
draw down everything that's at O'Connor up to what the town gave you. All you have to do is show them proof of match. So you don't have to,
I already did.
but I mean, you don't have to do this receipt by receipt. You can just show the deposit from the town's money, and you can draw down the whole grant. So give me a call tomorrow if you want to know more about that.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Okay. We all received a letter recently from Howard Futterman concerning duck hunting across from his house. That's actually DEP land. It is actually the Department of Environmental Protection has it posted as hunting available on there. However, according to Mr. Futterman, we have the opportunity to contact the DEP and suggest that that is not allowed in that section of their property. It is rather close to his house, I have to admit. He has, he's spoken with them. He has a name, and that was actually in the letter, the name of the person. I have not reached out to him yet. I wanted the rest of the board to see his letter before we go farther, but he would like to request that we reach out to the DEP as a town, because according to what he was told, the town has the ability to make suggestions on where hunting is allowed and where it isn't on DEP property. So in this particular case, although I'm an avid hunter myself, I think that looking at the location, it may make some sense. I'm not sure how the rest of the board feels about that, but
I've seen the people hunting there. They seriously park right in front of his house.
They do.
And walk 50 feet.
yeah, they do. I know.
I mean, that's not right.
Yeah.
I kind of agree.
That's just disrespectful. So if we can do something about it, I think we should.
If you guys are okay with it, I'll reach out to the DEP and
Yeah.
let them know that we discussed it and that we're okay with that. So, I don't think it changes it for the whole unit. I think they can do it based on just that location, so it still allows deer hunting in other areas, but
Probably one or another.
yeah.
Yeah, it's not gonna take out everything.
No,
gonna
it's
be-
just that particular location, which is right along Route 30, and it's really not.
And there's other locations in our town that have the designated non-hunting or non stuff. too.
Yeah.
So, and usually what got me baffled about that is usually close to residents like that, they didn't have it open.
Yeah, I was a little surprised about that
I
one.
think they
So,
must have voted on that.
Yeah.
Piece of property there somewhere.
I don't know, but that one does kind of make sense, I think,
Yeah.
if everybody
Yeah.
looks at it and reasons it. So.
Go for it, Al.
All right, I will reach out to him and see what he says. I guess we missed when Bill was here. I understand Earl Crum in the highway department will be retiring. His last day is the 29th. Is that correct, Diane? So we wish him well for the minutes. He's been an employee for a long time and done a good job. With that, we will open up the floor for discussion from residents. Again, we are going to keep this limited tonight. We have a lot to go over and we do have to do an executive session. Last month I started with the people in the building. Tonight we will start with the people online, whoever would like to make comments. Once again, I remind you that you need to keep your comments less than 2 minutes, and the board may not respond to every comment. We will wait and review the comments and determine they will be looked at a later time and responded to later.
State your name.
And please state your name. Yes.
Okay, I have 3 people and Diana is the first. Go ahead, Diana, unmute yourself.
Thank you. I appreciate being here tonight. I'm actually from Greene County, and I'm concerned about water quality issues for Schoharie Creek.
Excuse me, Diana, can you give
Yes,
us your full name for the minutes, please?
Oh, surely. It's Diana, and the last name's Abadie, Abadie. Family from New Orleans, who were very avid duck hunters in New Orleans. But anyway, I'm calling to address water quality concerns. I do live in Greene County, and I know that the water discharge would be through, I think it's Prattsville. But I wanted to ask a question about ambient transmission of toxins via the mist from the autoclaving process. There will be steam clouds. I have
Diana, I need to remind you that this board will not be making comments concerning this project.
I just wondered if
we'll be glad to listen
Yes,
to your
sir.
comments, but we will not be making a comment on this. This is handled through our planning board. We clearly stated this at our last meeting, and I'm stating it again tonight.
Thank you. I'm sorry I wasn't at that last meeting, but so that's my major concern in doing a literature search and talking with a few scientists around the United States. What I found is that there's no published information, and Hughes has not disclosed any information that I can discern regarding ambient transmission from the steam clouds. And that's concerning. I think another thing that's concerning in talking to other scientists around the United States is the fact that, like any company, Hughes would want to increase their product line, not only to include pellets, but also to include plastic products. And there's a trend to burn plastics, and research going on with USDA and Department of Energy now. So that would also increase the truck volume in the area and also in other areas in Greene County. Thank you for the opportunity to make this statement.
Thank you. Next.
Okay, the next person is Robin.
Sorry. Again, I'm still having trouble with my phone, so I apologize for the blank screen. I wanted to talk about a local issue, and that is I want to go back to snow removal on Main Street. I understand about the snow district and the sidewalk district and all that. But I'm just wondering if the town can buy a snow blower and have someone clear the sidewalks. I agree that it's not fair to charge Main Street residents because we would all benefit from snow removal. Is that something that can be put into the budget?
I don't believe that it can, because I believe we have to do it through a sidewalk district where those costs go just to the people on Main Street.
Why would that?
I don't know why, Robin, but we've looked into this in the past, and that's the answer we've received. We will certainly be willing to revisit it if there's another option, but we have in times when we've had heavy snow loads, we have had our highway guys remove snow, after major storms, just to get it out of the way for the state DOT. But other than that, we normally do not plow sidewalks. It's a responsibility of everybody to plow their own sidewalks.
People should volunteer.
I mean,
But
there's a name.
So
go ahead.
If there's a group that wants to do it privately and wants to volunteer their time and buy a snow blower, I'm sure we'd have no problem with it. But as far as the town expending money on it, I don't think that we legally can from the whole town. Aside from the liability issues, because it is private property, believe realistically.
What was your last name?
I don't disagree with you that it's a problem, and I wish we could work it out differently, but from all the research we've had in the past and looked at it in the past, that's what we've come back with every time.
Alan, I'm not sure that's the case as far as ongoing maintenance like snow blowing. It's the case for sidewalk replacement. So I think it's worth revisiting that conversation with the town attorney.
As I said, I'm more than willing to look into it. I agree that it's a problem. We'd be happy to take a look at it.
Stanford and Snowball.
Local businesses take care of their village.
Stanford is an incorporated village.
Oh.
and they-
Stanford and Margaretville are incorporated villages.
Yes, and they do it through their village budget.
But couldn't the
Funky water districts, any kind of lighting districts?
When this was looked at in the past, we were told that the only way this can legally be done is to form a district. And it would not only be one district, it would be a district for Roxbury and for Grand Gorge. We have as many sidewalks in Grand Gorge as we do in the hamlet of Roxbury, probably more actually. So we would have to do it for both districts, or both hamlets if we do it.
It does seem that the board would be able to do some kind of town ordinance and decide that they're going to take this on. It seems, it just seems like there should be a solution. And I know there hasn't been for 40 years, but that doesn't mean that we have to go on for the next 40 like this. Just my 2 cents. Thanks.
We're willing to look into it. I know in the past when it's been looked into, there were many owners on Main Street that either were not physically able to maintain their sidewalks or were not willing to spend money to have somebody else do it. And that was where the problem came in. I believe there is a percentage of people needed to elect to make a sidewalk district. And as I said, as you know, we have many absentee ownership on owners on Main Street, which would mean they would have to contract with somebody to plow it for them. And as I said, there are some that do, and some that maintain them and hire somebody to do it if they're not here, but not everybody.
So you're willing to look into this though, to see if there's something else that we can do? I mean, even if you were to form a committee to look into options as to how we can get the sidewalks cleared. It's such a benefit to the community, and we're trying so hard to make this a walking district. People can't walk in the winter, and you also have children walking in the street, which is just really dangerous.
I'll have to look into this further. I will talk with our attorney about it and see if there are any other options that we may have missed in the last 7 or 8 times that we've looked at this. We will continue to look at it and see what we can come up with.
All right, thank you, Alan.
Okay, next we have Judith. Judith, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Hello, thank you for hearing my comment. I wanted to ask if any decision had been made about the American Rescue Plan funds. From that previous special meeting about short-term rentals, at the end, there was a discussion about the speeding signs, and I was wondering where you were with them. And you had said you wanted to get 7 at a cost of, I believe it was about $40,000. And I was wondering where those were going to go and where you were in that process. And then my other question was, if we missed the sealed bids for the renovation for the Midrocks building, how do you see what those different contractors were, what their proposals were, and how much that expense would be? And is that part of the budget for 2022? I wasn't sure when I read it.
The highway renovation, or excuse me, the town hall renovations were included when we made the resolution to buy the building. We also looked at funding to make renovations that are needed. Once we get the renovations completed, they will be rolled into a permanent bond for the cost of the work. We have reached out for bids. As I said earlier tonight, we are looking at the bids. Once we have reached a point where we feel comfortable that the bids will do what we need to do, we will pass a resolution to go forward with a successful bidder. There was some questions that needed to be answered that we do need to discuss in executive session. Because it is a contractual arrangement, we do need to do it in executive session. So once we get through that process, we will, when we get ready to accept the bids, it will be done by resolution. So.
And the COVID relief funds?
We did, at this point, you talked about the highway signs. We did at our last meeting discuss this. And we are looking into it, but I believe that we are going to be able to use the ARPA money or a portion of it to do these highway signs. I've been working with the companies. The board directed me last month that they were okay with working with the companies to come up with the company we want to use for the signage. Most of them are companies that are on what's called state bid, which means we don't have to go out for an RFP because they've already bid through the state and we can use their bid as far as pricing goes. Just on this process, it's a little bit more lengthy than you would think. We do have to get the locations approved by the state DOT because all but one of them will be on a state-owned highway. And the designs also have to all be approved by the state DOC. So we are in the process of working on that. We'll get them, hopefully get them going as soon as we can, but we are in the process and it appears that we are going to be able to use the ARPA funds for that. The cost is probably roughly about 30 to 40,000, depending on.
For all of them?
For all of them, yes.
And where will they be located? Where, I mean, I understand sort of as you come into town, you know, down the hill from Margaretville, certainly that would be a really appropriate place for one, but where are the rest? You said 7, I believe?
Yeah, we're looking at in Grand Gorge. We have 4 entrances into the community on state roads. We have State Route 23 and State Route 30. So 4 of them would go in location somewhere at the end of the at the outside of the hamlet or coming into the hamlet. Again, that's going to be decided by the DOT exactly where we put them, but someplace at the entrance to each hamlet. As far as Roxbury goes, we would be using again each end of Route 30 as it comes into the hamlet of Roxbury, and the other location we're considering is County Route 41. Where it starts at the 30-mile speed zone. So that's where we're at with that. But yes, we are working on it.
Alan, I don't have anybody else on the list.
Okay. Good to know. We will at this point, I need to call for a short executive session to oh, I'm sorry. Excuse me. I apologize. I forgot we had people in here as well. Much apologize. Go ahead.
Thank you. My name is Nancy Haney. This is Joyce DeVito and Marion Van Aken. We all live in Grand Gorge, and we're all concerned about the addiction problems in Grand Gorge. We had a man die in the last couple of weeks in the old hardware store, and there's a young woman who, until the weather got very cold, was sleeping on the bench in front of the post office and wandering the streets in terrible shape. And we know that there are many others who are not quite as apparent. And now I don't expect you to solve the problem of addiction in the United States. And I'm glad to see that Jason Tompkins is going to come to our community and help us with Narcan. I think he'll get a positive response from the community. But the reason that we're here tonight is to ask you to rethink the decision you made about the opting in for the marijuana regulations. I understand that you had the right to change it until December 31st. And if in the future you should have a business that wants to open, and I understand we have to be a substantial business because of the requirements, the financial requirements. I understand that if that were to occur, you could then change and opt in. So I think it sends the wrong message to have opted in. And I don't know, of course, I wasn't privy to a prior meeting, so I don't know the reason you did that, but I just think it's sort of an encouragement of some way, and we would appreciate your looking at it again. Thank you.
What the way the state law reads, again, as everyone knows, marijuana is legal everywhere in New York State. I believe it was 2 meetings ago. I can't remember for sure on the minutes, but I think it was 2 meetings ago. We requested from the board a resolution to pass a local law to opt out of the ability to have marijuana sales in the town of Roxbury. And we did not get a resolution. The board did not bring up a resolution to consider it, so we did not consider it as a local law. In other words, we have to develop a local law to say that we are not allowing, and that's what they pertain as opting out of this. So
Okay.
and that's where we're at with it at this point. So
Quite a few of the towns around have opted out.
yeah, it has been done in many towns. I'm aware of that.
Stanford for one.
Joyce DeVivo from Grand Gorge.
Sure.
I'd like to
Go ahead,
speak on the same subject. So do I understand that by doing nothing, but the board has not taken a specific action, so that means we're in along with the state law?
That's correct.
Okay. But I would encourage you before December 31st to pass this resolution to have Roxbury out for now, hopefully forever. I agree with everything that Nancy said. I thought I read something about the decision was based on not wanting to do anything to hinder business. Maybe, I think I read that in the paper, but I'm not sure. I thought prostitution is a business too. Should we also approve of that?
That's also illegal. Unfortunately, marijuana
Still, but New York State stupidly decided to make marijuana legal. My opinion, okay?
We all have our own opinions on that, and I don't disagree, but as I said, at this point.
But I got a right to express my opinion, and I
Certainly.
just did. So I believe it would be a mistake to encourage the sales and greater use of marijuana products. You've all probably been reading Renee Barkita's letters, which give a lot more detail, a lot more facts than what I could come up with. But a lot of what I've learned from her is really scarier than my ignorance had allowed me to be, about children consuming the edibles and how easy it is for them to get them and be poisoned with them. And even adults who deliberately are using the edibles, not realizing that there's a delayed reaction and then taking more to get the high and not realizing that the high comes later and then they get an overdose.
If that lady is, I'm sorry, but that lady you're speaking about was here how many months back with a whole big deal of, yes.
A lot of them.
She was at a
She's been in
meeting
August, for
and she,
example.
was it? Yeah,
Yeah, and she's written letters to the.
I know, I
And
read
there was
them, yes.
another letter last week
Yeah,
before Halloween.
yeah,
So anyway,
she's on the ball.
please take it up and let's not have this here in this town in Grand Gorge. They're gonna get, the people who want it are getting their drugs anyway. But bringing it right here and then having our children and our grandchildren walking past and thinking, oh, this is an okay deal. Here's this fancy stuff wrapped in fancy packages. Mommy, why can't I have some? It just gives the wrong message. That's enough, 2 minutes.
Thank you.
Thank you, too.
Anybody else have any comments?
Hi, everyone. I just read in the paper the other day that the community kitchen got more funds from the state. I don't understand why, because back in 18, they got money from the state and other people. And the bid was already put out. And to me, I thought that the kitchen was already done because Beaver Dam Builders did it back and then at a bid of $152,449. So why is the state still giving money for the community kitchen?
Now, this was that project that was done. They just did a public note or a public announcement. This is the same project. The only additional
This ain't
funds.
the same project. What is this project then?
No, the kitchen was started, what, 3 years ago, 4 years ago?
That's when Beaver Dam Builders.
Right,
did it,
right.
Back in
right,
18.
Right, and they had the contract through that grant to do the project. The only thing additional we did to the building other than the kitchen, which was finished up basically last year, I think, was to replace the roof on the building, which was a separate grant that was done for the repair of the roof.
No, because the money that they got back in 18.
That was all part of the same. Okay, I apologize. I stand correct. That was also part of the same grant.
Because the money they got back from in 18 was, they got 111,000 from the state, 75,000 from transition tax skills, and 23,000 from the O'Connor Foundation. That's what they got back then, because I've got the newspaper articles that says that. And now you're getting more. I don't understand it.
No, we're not getting any more. That money was used up over the period of about that many years. So that's the same grant, the same amount of money that was used. There was no additional funds granted to that project.
This just said that you just got this money.
No.
Somewhere along the line, I'm not getting what you're saying, because this other money was back in 18 from those three people, and the Beaver Dam Builders got the thing.
No.
This one just come out in the Daily Star on the 2nd of this month. It says they gave $283,000 towards this project, with $135,000 coming from the Environmental Protection Fund for the community kitchen. Now, am I missing something?
No, that was, I believe, referencing the state's announcement that they made on their website about the project. We did not get an additional amount of money.
That's very misleading. Yeah. Very misleading.
Yeah, no, we did not get an additional amount for that
And
project.
there ought to be a correction, because I took this as giving more money to that community kitchen when everything was already done.
Yeah, it's all done now. The last of the expenditures on that happened in the last few months, and they finally, basically what they did is I believe they have or are about to close out the grant, which sometimes these grants get stretched out over a few years as they do work.
But they didn't get grants back in 18. They got them from those other three people.
Well, that was part of the same project.
And that boils down to about, well, I added it together, it's about almost $500,000.
If you'd like, I can have you contact Peg from the Mark Project.
No, thank you.
She's the one that's been monitoring that whole thing, and she can explain to you exactly where the funding went. But
well, it's very misleading.
But it was not an additional grant. It was all part of the same project.
Well, I don't understand it, and I don't agree with it.
Okay. Anybody else have any other comments? Frank?
I'm just curious, I don't know if I'm using the correct terms or not, but the county legislature, I'm very concerned on this Hughes project, that this is not just the Roxbury project, but it's a regional problem, because all of this trash is going to come through all of these different towns, Stanford, sorry, I'm getting tongue tied here a little bit, but
I understand what you mean. That's okay.
But
It-
coming through Ashland, Wyndham, from that direction, coming through Prattsville, coming through Roxbury,
That's true.
coming through Stanford, Davenport,
Delhi.
Courtright, Delhi, Walton, you name it. All of these towns are all involved in this. And I'm just very curious. Has anybody on the county legislature, whatever it's called, brought this up? And that the legislature is gonna examine this and say, hey, we're not for this, or we are for it, whatever they are. But somebody's got to begin taking a position and saying, we're not just going to wait for the DEC. We're going to take and give some opinion now as to what we feel about this.
Well, the process, as I've stated many times, Frank, and you've heard this from me before,
Yeah.
is that this process is being managed through the New York State DEC for the precise reason that you just told me. It's a bigger project than just the town of Roxbury. And it is going to be reviewed by several agencies in several towns and several counties. It's not only just Delaware County, it's also Greene County and Ulster County and any of the other counties. that
Harry
this comes
County
through.
also?
Yes. So that's why it's being managed at the New York State DEC. And any comments that you have need to go in writing and need to go to them, because that's where it's going to get controlled. Roxbury's portion of this, as we've said many times, is managed through our planning board and will not be reviewed until after it gets through the DEC's environmental process. So I have nothing else to say about that. I've said it several times over the last 3 or 4 meetings.
Okay.
I would encourage you to make whatever comments you want in writing and get it to the DEC, because that will be where it's going to be reviewed.
The vehicle, it's right on the front here, isn't it? Yes, where it says Hughes Energy.
Yes, that's the website, or that's
Yeah.
the
Right.
email
Right
address.
here, right there. I know. Oh, to go online and give your comments to them.
As I said earlier in the meeting, our planning board is also making comments based on the draft of the scoping that was sent to them. And they will be responding directly through that process as well as another agency, as I assume all the other agencies that are involved will do. So they will accept comments from anybody.
Okay, I would love to see the constituents of all these communities hear what the elected officials feel they want done.
Again, it's not up to the elected officials, it's up to our planning board. The process and the program will be reviewed in Roxbury by our planning board, not by our town board.
Okay,
I've
but
said that many times also.
I understand, but what about these other communities?
That's entirely up to them. It falls in Roxbury, New York. That's the reason we have to review it, which we will when the time comes. So anybody has the right to comment to the DEC, they're a state agency, and they're the ones that are reviewing this. So. Anybody else have any comments? If not, I will close the comment.
Alan,
Yes.
Robin had one more question. Would you take one more question?
She has 5 seconds. No, really, maybe 10.
Go ahead, Robin.
Okay.
I'm joking, Robin, but please keep it short.
I will. I actually wanted to ask about the budget process. I was at the meeting, but documents weren't shared. I picked up a proposed budget from the town hall. Is there any time when items are discussed and public can comment on it, or is it just
We had a public hearing tonight at 6:45. I believe you were online. I asked for comments.
okay? But do you ever open it up? Are there discussions?
That was our public hearing for the budget. That was the draft budget. That's when we opened it up.
That was it at 6:45, that 15
Yes.
minutes? That was
Yes.
the whole shebang?
We had no comments accepted, so I didn't hold the meeting open any longer than I had to. That's the
Okay,
standard
so-
process that's always done.
Okay, so where does it go from here? You guys vote on it?
Once the budget is finalized, based on the draft budget that was presented, yes, we will vote on it.
Okay, so right now there are no changes to the budget, so the proposed budget is the one that you are voting on, is that correct?
Our bookkeeper is here and our budget officer is here. I'm gonna let her comment briefly about the process, but yes, that's the way it works.
They made one change last meeting for the dog control. And then I have one to do later in the meeting for the Roxbury sewer. And other than that, we haven't had any comments or changes to make.
Just so you know, Robin, we do also do a public meeting for a budget workshop, which was done a few weeks ago. And
I was
believe
actually.
You were
I
here for
was-
that, I believe.
I was
yes.
there, but you guys didn't share the documents that you were working from. So it was actually very hard to follow what you were, talking about, what you were deciding. I have one other thing, and that is, do we know what it would cost to winterize the Kirkside kitchen so that it could be used year round?
I'm not sure about that. I'd have to check into it. There is a gas heater in there, but typically we don't use it because there's really not any call for it in the wintertime because the park is closed and there's no events going on. And the other purpose for the kitchen is to process things for sale at like outside venues and things like that. And that doesn't really happen in the winter. So the decision was made to use it only in the summer months.
Also, the restroom is across the.
Yeah, the restroom is across the way, and that's also winterized as well, because that's not heated either.
But we actually haven't had a kitchen like this. We've been waiting for this, and there may be a lot more demand from the community than you think. But if it's only used in the summer, it's going to really limit what people can do with it.
I'm sure that if there's a group in the community that would like to consider using it in the wintertime and if there's enough call for it, I'm sure the board would consider it. Possibly for next year. But yes, it's a possibility if there was enough need for it. When the thing was developed and we started the process, I believe it was decided that it was really not needed in the wintertime, and that's the reason we would winterize and close it to save on the cost of the heat.
All right.
But it's certainly a possibility if there's enough people that are interested in doing things in the winter that could use it, we would certainly consider it, I'm sure.
Well, it's also a revenue creator, isn't it, for the town?
Well, that's the question. If we have to heat it all winter long, it might not be a revenue generator based on the charges that we make right now for it. So.
Okay. Thank you. I'll be sure to pay a little more attention next year to the budget process. Thank you.
It's always, all of our budget meetings are public. If we ever have them, whenever we have a budget meeting, it is done publicly and announced as normal.
All right, thank you.
Okay, with that being said, I guess I'd like to get a resolution for an executive session.
I'll make the
Brief
resolution.
executive session. To discuss a contract issue and also an employee issue.
Everybody go.
Well, an executive session, we never know how long it's gonna be.
I'm gonna bring
They
pizza
weren't
next time. Let's stay here.
All right, let's carry on and get this done with. I'm ready to go home too.
This resolution.
All right, we're back in. I need a motion to come back out of executive session.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second it.
Okay, results of executive session. Made a decision on the employee. The rest has been
Good
undecided.
thing I left, huh? The other thing is saying that-
We didn't make a decision. Well, we did make a decision. We did.
Right.
Okay.
We actually decided something.
Right. Tom would never forgive me.
Wow.
I've never decided things. in
Doesn't work for the federal government.
Tom would never forgive me if we knew we did that.
Yeah, right.
Okay, motion to come back any regular session?
We did that.
And good night and thank you.
All right, good enough. Okay, we will go to resolutions. We're gonna start with the resolution to hire a water clerk. And get my act back together. And we have chosen Diane, what is her?
Kristen, shoot.
Chrislyn Shute will be the one that we will be appointing as the Roxbury and Grand Gorge water clerk. Need a motion to make that?
I'll make
I
that.
make it,
Ed and Deanna? All in favor?
Aye.
Okay. Secondly, we did discuss the bids for the Mid-Rocks building. We have determined that due to some indiscrepancies in the bid process with the electric amounts and electric equipment needed, we have decided that we will be rejecting all bids and we will rebid it for hopefully bid opening in the next meeting. We'll have to set a date for a bid opening before the next meeting. But we do have to get some revisions done on the drawings to include electric.
So we need a resolution to reject them.
Yes.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second it. Okay.
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. Okay, let's start down to the list here.
Still have one resolution, yeah.
Okay,
I want to re-invite the resolution.
speak clearly.
Oh, God.
Take your
This thing
mask
off.
down and speak clearly and we'll do this.
No public here.
I want to re-entertain a resolution we had from last month when we, of the marijuana law. That we had no decision on to it, and I'd like to bring a resolution back up again that we opt out of
Okay,
that, whatever it was stated. I can't remember how we worded it.
so you would like to make a resolution to opt out of the cannabis law. And then we would pass a local resolution or a local law to do that. Lindsay,
Yes.
Lindsay,
Yes.
did you hear what we were talking about?
Yes.
I know that previously, from what I understand, the deadline to opt out of this local law would be December 31st, correct?
That is correct.
If we are to pass the resolution tonight, considering to opt out of that, is that something that we can get done with a notice period and everything that we need?
Oh, yes. As long as you adopt the resolution and file the local law and the seeker form, which I have ready to go if you need it. As long as that is done before December 31st, you're fine. That does kickstart the permissive referendum period of 45 days. That notice period is not, it does not limit your ability to pass that law before December 31st.
We
Does that make
we do
sense?
have to have a public hearing before that, though, correct?
You do, yes.
Okay. But we have to hold a public hearing before the 31st of December, correct?
Yes.
Okay.
So we can hold that next month meeting.
We can hold a special meeting after the public hearing.
Well, we have actually a year-end meeting anyway. We have a December regular meeting, and we have a year-end meeting on the 31st, right? So we have time to do that. Okay, if that's the direction the board would like to go, I'll entertain a motion to opt out of the marijuana law. And Lindsay, you can word that whatever way it sounds correctly, if you wouldn't mind.
Yep, absolutely. I'll have the resolution sent to you guys tomorrow.
Okay. I believe we had it at
But
one.
we have the resolution from when you didn't want to do anything.
Okay, so we do have it.
That's what I thought. Okay, so you should have the resolution, the local law, and the secret form already. But if you need anything, just let me know.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so with that, you're making a resolution, Macker?
Well, I entertain to bring the resolution back. I'll make a motion.
Okay. Can I have a second? All in favor? Aye. Everybody voted aye?
Let me pull what that resolution was. 'cause I don't know that.
No, 2 months ago.
Yeah, I think it's 2 months ago. Can you spell it anymore? Trying to spell the word unanimous and
I didn't realize.
forgetting all this stuff.
That's what I was.
I'm surprised more and more towns are opting out more.
They are, but what I found out was this- the board was all and they haven't got their shit together yet. Nobody knows what how laws are gonna be here.
But, you know, the cannabis board is changing rules and laws as they're going along, which I find disturbing because you agree to opt in or opt out, but they change the laws as they're going, because they don't know what they're doing yet either.
They've only had one meeting. I think.
I don't know if it's one or two.
Two maybe now. They didn't have a full board the first meeting.
Yeah, so
Why do they need an answer from every town?
that's the thing, why such a hurry when they don't even know what they're doing? You know? There was somebody brought up that they delay it by a year. I don't know if it got any traction, but
I have the local law and that you guys already got. And I have the public notice for the public hearing.
Basically, you just pass a resolution.
Yeah.
But,
Adopting the local law that was submitted.
But you need to ask for then the local law that we're doing. That has to also include the notice or the date and time for the public hearing, I believe, and after that.
Lindsay, did you hear that?
Yes, I can email you the form right now and you can fill in when you'd like to have the public hearing. I'm guessing at the next meeting.
Yeah, we would definitely need to do it at our next meeting.
So then your resolution also includes holding the public hearing.
Yes.
That's all the resolution is. It's just to set the public hearing. It's not adopting the local law because you have to have the public
I
hearing.
realize that. So the public hearing, then you're gonna have on December 13th. Yes. What is it? 13. And what time? 6:45.
I would say 6:40. Do we need to make it earlier than that? I don't know. How much comment we're gonna get about it.
6:30, I'll bring pizza.
Okay.
It's like any other one, you only need the 15 minutes, but.
Well, we can just say that the meeting will start after the public hearing.
Almost moved the picture.
All right, so
Well, no, the regular meeting always starts at the designated time.
okay, so let's make the public hearing set for 6:30. That we have
On
extra
December
comments
13th.
on December 13th.
Yep.
Okay, so that's the resolution that I need. Mac, are you willing to make that resolution that we
Yes.
set a
Yeah,
public
and
hearing
you
to
seconded
consider?
it.
You
Okay,
seconded it, we're good.
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay. All right, that is set. Public hearing will be 6:30 on December 13th to consider the local law for the opt-out of marijuana. Okay, let's get the rest of the resolutions done. First is a resolution for town clerk's monthly report, supervisor's monthly report, assessor's monthly report, building inspector's monthly report. No, not received. And the water district monthly report, justice court, not received. Parks Department status report was received. Need a resolution for all of those?
I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, the resolution for the RFP website design is on
We
hold.
put that on hold.
Yeah, that's on hold. We will not, we need to review the proposals we've received. We need a resolution to accept Heather Brialt, is that how we pronounce her last name? As the school crossing guide, she's actually been doing that position already. We never did a resolution to hire her, so we need to make that
I'll make
retroactive.
the motion.
I'll second it.
And that needs to be retroactive to 10/18 was the date she started. All in favor?
Aye.
We need a resolution to prepay the capital projects bills that are approved.
I'd make it.
Second,
I'll second it.
Ed, Mike. We discussed the rave mobile safety proposal. This is not what I was talking about earlier from the tax thing. This is for
Yep.
the ability to do reporting and the phone call system that I sent you guys the information on.
Yeah.
I think this makes a lot of sense for town, and we would like to get started on getting that set up.
Did we find out if this is what we can use the COVID relief money for?
I believe we can, yes, that's part of it.
Is
It's
that what we're
considered
gonna use it to?
utilities, so we can use that for COVID relief money anyway. There is an annual fee. We can definitely use the setup part of it from COVID money to get it
It's just like
started.
the 911 thing, but
It's a local, yeah, it's a
Different one,
local,
yeah.
basically local based reporting system that we can use for
So you can
emergency
re-
services or
by area.
But-
Yeah,
I've been attempting to get the county to let me use
yeah, I remember.
the
Yeah,
New York Alert, and
they didn't want to.
this program came along. It's basically the same kind of a platform as what the New York Alert system is.
Kind of like what school uses, right?
It's similar to what the school uses, yeah. There's a couple other towns using it. I know Shandaken is using it, they're very happy with it. And there's a couple other ones around that are also using it.
Yeah, I'll make the motion.
Second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye, okay. We need a resolution to send unpaid water balances to the county tax bills.
I'll make that.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right, we need resolution to amend the health insurance HRA account. I believe you got some information on that, that was, the amounts were changed.
We had approved the renewal in September of this, but they apparently want it in a resolution worded a specific way for the HRA, so.
We need that resolution.
I'll make that motion.
To the second,
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And the same thing for the next one, which is the county or the town retirees that are also under that plan. We need a resolution for the same thing.
I'll make that motion, yeah.
I'll second.
Okay, the next is a resolution that you just received today. We don't need to do that tonight. We can table it for a month if you want to look into that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I will say about that, this was a resolution that was passed by the county board of supervisors at their last meeting. They're asking that the towns support it with another resolution. I know we just received it today and there's no need to approve it, so we'll table it.
Let's table it, please.
We can review it a little bit more and get more information. We did the highway superintendent.
You missed the adopt the 2020.
Yeah, I know, I'm doing that last. I did that on purpose.
They're making you-
Kirkside kitchen use agreement has been presented to everybody.
you did
If we're all happy, we'll pass that so that Denise can get going forward with her.
Didn't she in her email with
think
that
we should
say
read
that
them
she wanted
Okay.
further review of it?
Yeah, I mean,
All right, let's hold,
on
let's hold off on it then, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we need a resolution to adopt the 2022 budget for the town of Roxbury.
I have two changes
Okay.
that came in today.
All right,
The culvert pipes for the Roxbury sewer are not supposed to be included in the budget, which they are, so we need to take 30,000 out of the 8130.4 in Roxbury sewer, reduce that by 30 and reduce the revenue by 30.
yeah, that was, the city rejected that,
Yeah.
adding those culverts.
It was kind of up in the air the last
And
time
we
we
finally
met.
got a
and we
response. so,
Finally
Okay,
got it. So just those two items, Roxbury sewer.
so with those two changes, can we get a resolution to accept the budget for this year?
We don't have to vote on the back check or.
We're not going over it.
We're not going
We're
over it
not
this
going
year.
over
so.
it.
I make a motion.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, then
And I'll get that all together and we'll get it ready for the county. And
Thank you.
you
Thanks for
receive
all
that.
your work on that.
Yes,
You're
thank you,
welcome.
Beth. You did an excellent job.
Yeah.
Much
You're welcome.
appreciated. Sorry to keep you so long tonight.
That's okay. Thank you.
Have a good night, though.
Take care.
See ya.
Yeah,
Um,
Monday.
You received information on the HERO Act infectious disease plan. I don't think that's a resolution we need to do.
Well, we need to set it up. Because I think I emailed that to Lindsay. There was some things that, is she still on there?
Lindsay, you're still on there, correct?
I am, yes. I just emailed you the resolution setting the public hearing. So sorry, I didn't hear the last thing that you said.
We were talking about this HERO Act, this infectious disease plan. Diane said she sent you we have to set that up.
I did not receive that. When was it sent?
I thought I sent it to her. It's the new thing that's coming out. It was supposedly Governor Hochul put it in that under the HERO Act, that it's an infectious disease plan
Earlier, yeah.
that everybody has to set up.
I do not have it in my email.
We'll get it to you.
Okay,
It was sent on October 20th,
Did you hear that?
yes, I did.
at 1 PM.
Okay. I don't have anything. I have the Rave Mobile Safety Agreement on that date, but I don't have anything about the HERO Act. So if you could send that to me, I'd be happy to review and get that back to you this week.
Okay,
Good night, John.
Good night, thanks. See you.
Yeah.
you'll send it to her again tomorrow then, Diane?
Yeah.
Okay, she said she sent it. It's here. I see the email. so
Yeah.
Oh, this is the same thing.
It was sent to you on the 20th.
You printed it out.
Okay,
I thought Kevin talked about it.
and the last thing, you've received all the costs for the water project that we've been working on. Everybody received those?
Yep.
Last thing is pay the bills.
Those have been audited.
Yeah.
I was good with all of them, and I talked to Billy about that.
Can I make the motion to pay the bills? Second?
There's two of you over there.
You guys done
You guys reviewed
it.
Well, there was on a piece of paper there.
What?
Yeah, second.
All right, all in favor?
Kind of the way I look at it, when you like for the
Okay.
highway.
How about a motion to go home?
I'll make that.
Wait,
I'll second.
we only got one more month to do goddamn bills.
All right, motion to go home. Thank you, everybody. Sorry it was such a long night.
Well, at least it wasn't 2.5 hours.
Yeah.
To everyone online, thank you very much.
It was actually better than I thought.